As a disclaimer, this episode features potentially disturbing or offensive topics such as suicide, racism, and bullying. Listener discretion is advised, and please feel free to reach out to us at the WJ Changeup on Instagram with any concerns. What's up, Wildcats? Liam here. Today I'm co-hosting with print feature editor and fellow mock trial attorney, Elli Karistinou. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Elli. I am in 11th grade, and like Liam said, I'm on mock trial with him, and I'm also a print feature editor on The Pitch.
Thank you for agreeing to co-host today's episode.
Of course, it's a pleasure to be here.
Very briefly, I would like to announce that the podcast will now be releasing episodes monthly instead of every 2 weeks. I apologize for creating fewer episodes, but I'm looking to write more articles during the second semester, and it's hard to write an article and publish a podcast episode within 2 weeks while ensuring they're both high quality. So, today's topic is definitely more serious than usual, but I think it's important to talk about. Despite this being a pretty important issue, very few people seem to know about it, so here we are. Neither Elli nor I are offering an opinion on what may or may not have occurred, or what, if any, parties are in the right, and are just trying to give listeners a better understanding of what's happening. Do you want to start us off, Elli?
Sure. So, in 2022, Charlie Schnell was a sophomore at the Landon School in Bethesda, which is a private all-boys school for grades 3 through 12 with approximately 700 students. Charlie was on the football team, wrestling, and lacrosse teams at Landon, and his parents, Don and Scott Schnell, described him as having a smile that could light up a room. He had transferred to Landon as a freshman, having been bullied at his last school, the Langley School in McLean, and joined the football and lacrosse teams that year. He continued these commitments into his sophomore year, alongside joining the wrestling team, but things rapidly went downhill.
Allegedly, he suffered a concussion during wrestling practice and was mocked by a dean in front of other students, publicly humiliating him. He described himself as tired, worried, and in insane pain because of a tonsils ailment, and was impacted by the recent suicide of a close friend's family member, and was severely stressed about threats that had been made about a school shooting on campus. Charlie's English teacher allegedly read an assignment in which Charlie indicated his stress and deteriorating mental health, and did not inform his parents.
Several news sites have reported that the event that pushed things over the edge was when Charlie was accused of making a racist drawing and showing it to an African American friend. The friend then reported to the school administrators, and the news spread quickly. It's alleged Charlie dealt with extreme bullying and threats of violence following the incident, and that the school worsened matters by having the administrators engage in, quote, extensive discussions with other students, parents, and faculty that essentially corroborated Charlie's rumor role regarding the drawing, further inflaming the animus against him, end quote.
It's claimed that the drawing was not seen by anyone in a leadership position at the school, that Charlie's parents were never informed about discussions about it, and that Charlie himself was never given a chance to respond to the accusations.
Despite doing quite a bit of digging, Liam and I were unable to find an image of the drawing in question. Charlie was also facing discipline over a separate incident and was given the choice to either withdraw or be expelled, with no option for appeal.
He chose to withdraw on March 13th, 2022, yet still suffered bullying even after withdrawing. 13 days later, on March 27th, 2022, he took the Landon banner down from above his bed, tied it into a noose, and hanged himself.
2 years later, after his death on January 4th, 2024, his parents, Don and Scott, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the Landon School, Charlie's English teacher, and several Landon administrators. For the sake of their privacy, we won't name them in this episode. However, in the lawsuit, they ask for more than $75,000 in addition to several policy changes at the school. These changes include hiring a certified school counselor, instituting annual anti-bullying training for the staff, and implementing more effective suicide prevention and anti-bullying programs.
Landon has responded to the lawsuit by saying that they, quote, continue to feel only compassion for the grief that this family is experiencing over the devastating loss of their son, end quote, but that they strongly disagree with the lawsuit's claims. The hearing to determine a potential pretrial settlement is scheduled for November 11th, 2024, so it'll be some time before we learn what's happening next. I would like to reiterate that this episode is not intended to determine right or wrong, or to take one side or another, but to provide the WJ community with a fuller picture of what's happening. With that being said, this lawsuit has some extremely interesting implications.
MCPS and the schools in the surrounding area place a major emphasis on mental health, boasting counselors, therapy clubs, and in the case of WJ, Wildcat Wednesdays and the Pause Den. Although Landon, as a private school, isn't a part of MCPS, it's still surprising that a school in this area doesn't already have sufficient anti-bullying and suicide prevention programs. If the lawsuit is decided in favor of the plaintiff, Landon would have to update its policies accordingly, but the impacts could be far more widespread than that. Beyond Landon, it could serve as a wake-up call for nearby schools that haven't already updated their mental health programs and bullying policies in some time. Even if the lawsuit is decided in favor of the defense, it may nevertheless affect schools in the area, specifically how they approach bullying and mental health.
Although this episode probably won't have any direct effects on WJ, it could encourage MCPS to further reinforce its anti-bullying and suicide prevention programs. Regardless, we believe this case is important for the WJ community to be aware of, especially its background and potential future consequences. Our sincerest condolences to Don and Scott Schnell and to everyone who knew Charlie.
If you or someone you know is having suicidal thoughts, help is available via the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 or at 988lifeline.org. You can also visit speakingofsuicide.com/resources for additional support.
Please consider letting us know what you think about the episode in the Google review form linked in the bio of the @WJChangeUp Instagram. Alternatively, DM us directly. Thank you very much for co-hosting with me today, Ellie.
Thank you for having me, Liam.
Until next time, see you. Thank you to Elli Karistinou for co-hosting today's episode, and as always, a huge thanks to the WJ Pep Band for composing the introduction song. Additionally, thank you to Miss Borrelli for letting us use her office to record.